I'm inspector for the Pasadena Jackie Robertson Center touchscreen site. I have done this, I've been an inspector for 3 times, so it's fall 2005 and last spring and now. I have been a clerk at the Braille touchscreen site 3 or 4 times before that. So I've had some experience.
Do we still have a Braille touchscreen site?
Oh, yes.
This election? That's down at the Center for the Blind?
It's in
Vermont?
Well, LA on Vermont, right, it's open. They weren't open last spring because they had a 3-day event scheduled there in the auditorium, and so they didn't have the auditorium available for 4 days.
And who knew there was going to be a special election?
Well, June was the primary, so
right.
I knew the election was going to be there, but it had been shifted from March.
Oh.
So I think the Braille people just didn't realize that that week in May was going to be a problem.
Right. Okay, so describe the process, and then Verified Voting had some questions that I would, I'll ask you the answers to, and I'll be able to fill this in.
Okay. When the voter arrives, they stop at the sign-in station. If they have their sample ballot, they sign their signature and the date, and we use that as a means of looking them up in the registered voter database.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't have their sample ballot with them, we ask them to fill out this blue form, which
mm-hmm.
Asks for name, address, birth date, driver's license number, signature, and the date. And then we process that using the database that the registrar recorder contains.
Is that the statewide database, right?
It's the LA County database.
That the Help America Vote Act asked for.
It's the LA County database.
Version of the state. Okay.
They get their information from us.
That's right, exactly.
We don't get information from them.
Exactly.
However, if there is an issue with a person who's registered late, or they said they registered in DMV and we don't have current registration up for them, then at Registrar Recorder's office, they will go into Cal Validator and check to get verified information from the state database.
All now before the person gets
before
to
the person ever gets inside.
Okay.
If the person has received or been sent an absentee ballot, or they're listed as a permanent AB, then we ask them to fill out a provisional. If they have their AB with them, they turn it in. We mark every piece of paper they turn in with voted at polls, drop it in the box, and then
so there's a box here.
Yeah,
for the
we've
ABs.
got it, and anybody who brings
here
in
for
a
the
signed, voted, sealed AB can drop it in the box also.
Let me interrupt you.
Okay.
So do those go to the registrar to Norwalk at the end of the night?
Yeah, they do not go daily.
Oh.
They go on Friday.
So they're
this
locked
week.
in here?
They're locked in here, yeah. They're locked in a
absentee.
box, and they're locked in the room.
And
I have the only key to the room, and I take it home. So, once the person's been processed, they are given an access card. The access card tells the computer which ballot to bring up. That's all that's on it. And then the person, the voter, when they put their access card in, can choose large text, they can choose high contrast, and they can choose their language. So those are done on the machine now. And however, if the person needs audio, then you have to program the audio in.
Okay.
So there's just a little keying that says, make the audio work.
And that's on the smart card that you have to do.
Yeah. When the smart card kicks out of the machine, when the person has finished voting, it's erased. So it's blank. It contains no information about the person, and it is ready to be recoded for somebody else.
So you do it the way that, like, the hotel people do it when they make your key for room 347.
Yeah,
They take
and
out.
actually the touchscreen machine itself erases the code on the
Erases it
card.
all.
So if you went to another machine and tried to stick the same card in, it wouldn't allow you to vote.
So that's part of the software of the system, is
Yes.
to be able to key up the audio.
Yeah.
That has to come with the system to key up the audio.
Okay, any other questions? Well, then they go
Yes.
in. Okay, when the person goes to the machine, they stick their smart card in. It brings up their ballot. Then they get, as I said, they get to choose large text. They get to choose their language. And then it brings up the first race on their ballot. They just touch the screen to make their choices. If they've made an error, they touch that same choice and it erases, and they can make a new choice. When they get to the end, they can either scroll back through all the pages just to check them,
Huh.
or they can go ahead to summary.
Yeah.
And then the summary screen is either 2-column or 3-column. And it gives all the choices that have been made. It gives the name of the office, and then underneath it's written the name of the person they chose, or the yes or the no that they chose. Then they hit print ballot, and in the printer it prints out about 8 things at a time.
About 8
so
things
it's
at a
one
time.
screen at a time.
Right,
That's what
right,
it amounts
right,
to.
right.
And you can check the printer
Uh-huh.
and make sure that it indicates the choices that you've made. When the person has checked everything and they're satisfied that it's right, they hit cast ballot, which
Yeah.
isn't touching the screen again. It does one more print, rolls the ballot up into a sealed container so that nobody can see it.
Right.
And then their card comes out and they leave.
And they're done.
Yeah.
And they're the minute they were given the smart card, they were marked as voted polls, a registered voter who has voted in the electronic database.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And if for some reason something odd happens, then we have to start over, reprogram the card, and then we have to suspend this AV, go and then reauthorize it.
Okay.
What other thing?
I can.
You have another question?
Well, I can
come to
ask you
that.
these, and then
Okay.
when we're finished, then if there's anything else that either of us want to mention, we could. It says our election workers at the early voting site dedicated exclusively to polling operations. If no, do they have other unrelated responsibilities? I would guess that's...
The only thing that we're doing for the center is we're keeping track of zip codes because they're just curious as to how far away people are coming from to use the center.
And that's from the center, that will go to the registrar?
No, because the registrar will get every single piece of paper
Yeah.
that a voter has worked on.
Okay.
No. So all the blue cards go into the registrar, all the white cards, the backs of the sample ballots go into the
36
registrar.
and 37,
Any
please.
provisionals, which is this pink sheet, if a person has received an absentee ballot and they did not bring it in to
Yeah.
surrender,
Yeah.
then they have to fill out a provisional, and we mark that no absentee ballot to surrender, and then we code it with a number,